Kristi Noem. She is no longer the head of Department of Homeland Security and will be moved into a new position. This is the first big kind of ousting of this second term of President Trump in this way. Of course, there were some before, Matt Gaetz, and then it became Pam Bondi. But since he took office, so this is the first big one there. But we have seen an actual update where Kristi Noem, though clearly wasn't doing the job that maybe President Trump and the administration was looking forward to and wanted to see for the future, she did, however, do some pretty good things at the border. And so they are reassigning her to, it seems like, focus more on that.
That's right. So one thing you have to give the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, credit for is what a great job DHS has done at getting control of the southern border. That was one of the big campaign promises of President Trump and has been fulfilled. That has been
you don't even hear about it very much.
Unbelievable how well they have controlled our southern border. And then obviously Kristi Noem was a target of the Democrats from the very beginning. Why? Because they have been so pro-open border that the person that did a great job of shutting it down and then was leading the department in charge of the operations of getting illegal immigrants out of the country is going to be one of their main targets. This happens in every administration. There is always a first cabinet member to leave. So this just happens to be the one here. What I think is interesting, though, is that, yes, there had been distractions around the Department of Homeland Security. The Democrats are keeping it shut down right now, refusing to fund it. So I think the move here managerially, if you are the president of the United States, of saying, okay, let's try to shake things up, do something a little different. There have been a lot of criticism and from many people, even on the right. Let's move Kristi Noem, who he says he appreciates. We're going to give that statement in the next segment, but let's not just get rid of her because I appreciate what she's done. He's created the Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere that they are doing a big announcement on this Saturday.
Now, at the same time, you do have a new head of the DHS, and that is Senator Markwayne Mullin, who you may remember from sort of the testy argument he had last year where, they were kind of got in each other's faces. It was with the Teamsters.
It
almost came to blows. Right? Bernie Sanders had to break up a fight. Former MMA fighter, undefeated MMA fighter, and also again, he's been a senator for quite some time. Along with a lot of other qualifications. But again, he's from Oklahoma. But this does now open up potentially an election, a seat in Oklahoma. So we can break down all of that here as well.
That's right. So one thing I want to point to as well, President Trump has no issue firing people, right? Like James Comey didn't get a reassignment as a special envoy when he was fired from the FBI. So when you read President Trump fired Kristi Noem, I think it is a misuse of that term because he clearly values her input and clearly values what she did for the administration and for the country as the leader of the Department of Homeland Security, for his own reasons, whether it be the ways that the Democrats were able to latch on and attack her so frequently, whether it be distractions, and that some even within the Republican Party had turned on her as far as questioning some of her leadership moves. Clearly, the president thought it was time to move on and to put someone else that maybe can take some of the scandal that the Democrats were putting out there about Department of Homeland Security, maybe put some of that out of the picture and maybe get the department actually refunded to continue to protect our homeland while we're, in a conflict in the Middle East with a nation that likes to do things like fund and promote and export terrorism around the world. Maybe that's a good idea. So the president reassigns her. It's a newly created position that is the Special Envoy to the Shield of the Americas. We know a lot of the moves that the president has done in the Western Hemisphere are very important to him. This Special Envoy position, I assume, much like many of the other Special Envoy positions that he has created, will actually do work. Before he was put in office, a lot of people pointed when people got Special Envoy positions like, oh, that's the consolation prize, you're not a cabinet member. But what we have seen from people like Rick Grinnell, Steve Witkoff, who was in the room negotiating with Iran, or Rick Grinnell, who has done so much work as a Special Envoy, that these positions for Donald Trump actually mean something. They mean you will continue to work for the betterment of the country. And if it takes some distractions away to move you into a different position, that's just good management. So I do also take issue with the word fired that the media is loving to run with, because that makes a better headline for them instead of actually telling you that she has been moved into a new position, which is the reality of it. But you also brought up Senator Mullin, Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, one of the most conservative states as far as representation and voting and
so
state
it could be
government.
a safe one to lose, if you will, as a senator.
Right. One, the elites are already attacking him because he doesn't have a bachelor's degree, so therefore is not qualified to do anything.
Of course not.
That's their line, obviously. Many times you see them turn to their elitist roots whenever they can to try to attack someone. But there is a little bit of intrigue here with the seat in Oklahoma. It is expected to be safe, no matter who the next person is, of being maintaining itself as a conservative, a Republican seat in the Senate. But the filing deadline, because the way the Senate works, it's not like in the House of Representatives when there's a vacancy, they have a special election. The governor of the states appoints someone to fill the seat until there is another statewide election. That will be happening in the midterms this year. The filing deadline is April 1st. So people that want to run for this Senate seat have to be filing in a couple weeks. So that's a quick turnaround to try to get a campaign and the thought process.
Want to go?
Many people, I mean, I'm not a resident. I don't think I would meet the qualifications.
All right, fine.
But here's a new law in Oklahoma.
I think of some Oklahomans we know.
Many times in Oklahoma, in a state, the governor can appoint someone they think is a strong candidate that can then run in the general and win. Oklahoma has a new law that whomever the very conservative Kevin Stitt is to appoint cannot run. So we're going to have three different senators within the span of like 8 months.
Someone gets appointed now as he takes this new position. That person will not be the senator.
They are not able to be eligible. So you have this very brief period of time from when Markwayne Mullin, the senator, steps down because
when they made that decision? It's an interesting run.
It's the law that somebody in the Oklahoma legislature decided was a good idea, and they passed it, and the governor signed it.
You said he isn't taking immediately. Do we know when he would take on this role? I kind of want a head of the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, obviously there are deputies that will be serving in the interim. They're saying beginning of April is when he's expected to. I assume he will probably wrap up things in the Senate. He has staffers in the Senate that probably are going to be looking for new gigs, things of that some may move over to DHS, but get all the logistics in line. And I assume he may even be able to take it as an acting director while waiting for confirmation, but he will have to be confirmed by his colleagues in the Senate.
That's true. You got to go through all of that